Welcome to Horsefly Chronicles Radio with Julia and Philip Siracusa. Sponsored by Carnation. Airing live on United Public Radio Network on 105.3 and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. This show's opening has been produced, edited, narrated by Gwen Luckett at gluckett.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Monday night segment of Horsefly Chronicles Radio with myself, Julia Siracusa, and Phil Siracusa. We're broadcasting live from the United Paranormal Radio Network on 105.3 FM and 107.7 FM from New Orleans. We're also live on Roku, so you can watch us live from your TV. We're fully sponsored by Carnation, so we want to thank them for this sponsorship. You'll have to do a few things in order to participate in chat. So you can go to the YouTube UFO Paranormal Radio. You can go to all the Facebook stations, UFO Paranormal Radio Network, UFO Undercover with Joe Montaldo, News on the Flip Side, Twitch, SoundCloud, Podbeam, and of course our group, Horsefly Chronicles Radio. And if you have any questions for our guests, please ask. So tonight, guys, we have another amazing guest. So please welcome to the show, Chris Hammond. Chris has been a part of the paranormal for many, many years. He's been a part of more than 20 events across multiple states to speak, investigate, and help fellow paranormal groups. He's been interviewed and heard on multiple radio and TV shows for Fairfax Public Access, which can be watched on Roku and Amazon under Evermore Paranormal. He's worked alongside some of the best-known names in the field, and he's worked on missing persons cases. So please let's welcome him to the show.
Welcome.
Hi, Chris.
Hello. How are you guys?
Hi.
Good. Thanks for coming on today.
Yeah, we're really happy to have you on tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So what we like to do is kind of like, for anyone who may not know who you are, take us to like the beginning of your story. Did anything happen to you as a child to kind of like throw you into the research of the paranormal?
My story is kind of different, I think. What got me into the paranormal, and I just go way back to the start of it. I belonged to the local fire company as a volunteer, and it got shut down, and I got mixed up in drugs. And I've told this story. I don't know if you guys ever heard it or not, but yeah, I went way down the rabbit hole on drugs because when I don't know, if I do something, if I have a passion for something, I'm all in. Mm-hmm. So when the fire company got shut down, it kind of left a hole. So I filled it with drugs, and I never kept track of like how long I was on drugs or how long I haven't been on drugs. But one night, me and my ex-girlfriend, we were arguing, and we took a drive up this mountain, and she starts freaking out about this white lady story, and I'm like, oh, you're crazy. There's no such thing as a ghost. And we passed the spot where you're supposed to see the white lady, and I said, see, I told you. And probably like 10 minutes later, this is like 2:30 in the morning too, so it was like 10 minutes later, off to the left side of the road, there was this glowing figure. It looked like a human, and I couldn't tell if it was, I couldn't tell if it was a lady or a guy, or it was a human shape, but it was glowing bright white. And we went past it, and she was freaking out. I was freaking out, and I asked her what she saw, and she told me she described exactly what I saw. So she started
Yeah.
she started telling me, let's start watching these ghost hunter shows. And I was like, all right. So we did, and I thought, well, shit, I can do that. That's how I got started, and then I fell in love with it, and I thought, well, I better get myself cleaned up because I'm going into people's homes. I don't want to be messed up and nodding out and stuff. So it's weird because the paranormal kind of saved my life, I think.
I was just gonna say that if that's what it sounds like, the
Yep.
paranormal saved your life, because that's what I'm getting, and that's amazing.
Yeah, it gave me it filled that hole. So I don't know if that makes any sense or not, but
It does make sense. It does. You know, it makes a
yeah,
lot of sense.
it gave me something that I was passionate about, and whew, I've been clean for, oh man, I don't even know how many years, but it's been probably, I know it's over 10 years. I don't,
That's real.
some people keep track of their sobriety, and to me, it just reminded me like, oh, I've been clean for this many years. Oh, yeah.
Right.
I don't think about that.
Yeah. Well, congratulate. I mean, that's a great achievement. You know, you worked really hard, and the paranormal it did save your life. That's what it really does seem like. So you kind of like just fell in love with it, basically.
Yeah.
And it took you to doing what, like doing locations and helping people. How did all of that like happen after?
When I first started doing it, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just going to cemeteries, and I had a voice recorder and a little generic camera from Walmart or something. It wasn't anything good, but I went to a cemetery with a couple friends, and we got a picture that I couldn't explain. It looked like a figure standing in the picture. And then someone I knew had told me there's actually a team in the town that I live in, and they put me in contact with Melissa Leeper, who you guys know, and then she just kind of took me under her wing, and we went from there.
Wow. So that's okay. And then you traveled state to state speaking at events too. I mean, how is that experience for you? Do you tell your story when you're speaking? Because
Yeah, I've told my story at a few events. Sometimes it's hard for me to tell like to go deep into that story at events, because there's some things in there that I get emotional about, and
of course.
Like Melissa's great. Melissa Leeper, she's great at coming. If she's with me, she'll speak with me, and I also get sidetracked easy, so she'll keep me on. She usually keeps me on track, but it's hard to speak with her. It is hard to speak with her sometimes because she's really good at speaking, and I'm not so good.
Well, that's how I am with Phil. I mean, I'm not really a good public speaker, but he is. So we kind of like balance each other out, and I feel like that's what you and Melissa do. You know?
Yeah,
and
for sure.
It works. It really does. Oh, I have a question that probably a lot of people want to know. I want to know. How did you get the name The Haunted Hammy? Like, as long as you just can't curse.
Oh, okay, yeah. No. My last name is Hammond, so in high school, my friends just called me Hammy, and
It
when
stuck.
when I started doing the paranormal, I just added the haunted part to it. So I figured, it works.
That's funny. Phil. Come on, Phil. I know you have some questions. You're just sitting there like I can
Well, I'm
feel the question.
listening to the haunted Hammy, but everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
He was on drugs. He's seen something with his ex-girlfriend, an apparition, meets Melissa, then gets into the paranormal. So, and that void is filled up. So everybody has a reason and it fills that void.
Yeah.
And paranormal investigating fills a lot of voids because we're seeking the unknown. And at the same time, we're proving to everyone that it does exist. Paranormal activity, paranormal phenomena. Yeah, we had the pleasure also of meeting Melissa a few times. She was been here to the Horsefly. Wow, Chronicles
Yeah.
home back in
So many years ago.
2014. Time goes so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I keep trying to get her to come down because I have never been there. But
Now, I will say this. I'm going to say this on air. That's pretty interesting because whenever I see Melissa, we're in the same room, something happens, paranormal
Yes.
wise. I cannot explain it. Maybe she can, but she was in my home, something happened. We were at an event, something happened.
I was at
So
that
I,
event.
I
I
kind of think, I
yeah.
almost kind of think it's the same entity that knows both of us. And we're
Oh,
like a trigger object to this entity because I've done many investigations with different people. I've never had that before. So something about where we're in a room, it's like a trigger for this thing.
Yeah. I would agree.
yeah. I think I was at that one event where something happened.
Yes.
Down at
At Selma, I think, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Selma Mansion. Yes, that
Yeah.
that
That was a wild
I,
that was yeah, that was a wild night. That
yeah.
actually we're not gonna like talk about it, go into it, but that really honestly left like a mark on me. And it just, I didn't know what to make out of it. Like
Well, I'll tell you this, Julie. When Melissa was here back in 2014, the basement,
yeah.
something similar happened to someone. Now, it's telling me something. That's why we wanted her to come back here, for paranormal purposes of are we dealing with something that's triggering the both of our energies? So we'll see. Maybe Chris can get her down here one day. They could all come down.
Yeah, I'll
Having
have
Oh yeah.
said that, let's talk about St. Albans, Chris.
Oh
yes.
yeah. Um, St. Albans is my favorite location that I've been to so far, and it's not the building and the paranormal activity that go on in the building is just a part of that. But the people there, they take care of their guests. They welcome you in like family. But we were talking earlier, and you had told me that you had a paranormal encounter up in the birdcage area, and I said that I did too. So I'll tell you what my experience was, and we'll see if they match up.
Yeah.
um, so we were there investigating. Um, I don't remember who was all there. Melissa was there. There was a group of us there, and I was started to walk down the hallway to the birdcage to go. I wanted to go outside, and all of a sudden, um, and it has never happened to me before like this, but it was just like this big black mass, just kind of. I want to say swooped in, like it was going to grab me. I don't know if that's what it was going to do or not, but that's what it felt like, and it scared me, and I kind of backed up for a minute, and then I got really angry, and started charging towards it. And Melissa Melissa grabbed me and was like, "You're not going," you know. She likes to keep everybody safe.
Yeah.
But yeah, that and I've never had that happen before or after that. It was just I don't know what it was.
Huh.
That black mass is usually negative,
Yeah.
right?
So
Yeah.
what happened to you?
Yeah.
Was it? Uh-oh. That's the thunder, guys. We're having a horrible rainstorm here in PA, where we live. So
Rainstorm, tornado watch, hail watch, and
yeah,
every active dog watch we're under. So if we fly away during the show, we'll try to keep it going. But anyway, St. Albans is very unique. For anyone who hasn't been there in Virginia, it's an amazing place. If you are into paranormal, you definitely want to go to that location. The birdcage, from what I heard, as the kids used to hang out there. It was like their playground, for example. And I remember going in there, and this is in the building, of course. I think it was like the second floor or something like that, or third floor.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And I remember this kid latching onto me, a ghost kid, but he's telling me his story.
Oh wow.
And I'm trying to say, is it my mind, or is it somebody like a ghost actually making me feel the impression of when he was there in the physical? And he wouldn't leave. And then I'm walking down the hallway eventually, and then he says, "That's the bad man." And I felt this evil presence of a man. He said, "That's the doctor that did this to me." And supposedly they were using this kid as some type of an experiment. And they put him into this chair, and they would tie him up in the chair.
Oh, horrible.
And oh yeah. And on the way home, I remember the radio was going crazy in the car. And when I got home, I seen this white orb flying around the house. John, I don't know if you remember, this is back years ago. And then one of the kids was like, there's something in my room. There's something in my room. That kid came home here. He was here for like a couple days. And it sounds crazy to the listener. I know it does, but sometimes the spirit wants to escape certain locations. I guess it went back. I'm not sure. Maybe it felt connected to me, but it told me his story. And then I wound up looking up the doctor. I don't remember the name, but there was a specific doctor that was labeled to do cruel things to the kids over there as experiments. So his story rang true of what he was telling me. And that enlightens me to teach the world that the dead can tell their story to the living. If you're open and receptive and you have a belief, they will come, sometimes they will come through and tell you their story. And it's important because sometimes that spirit needs closure. And they feel good about coming through in such a way where you don't see the actual person. They show you an impression of what they would have looked like when they were alive. Imprint. So that's a unique place, and there was a lot of bad things that happened there, unfortunately. You know, I mean, I don't know the whole background of the location. Chris, do you know the whole background of that location?
When it opened, it was oh man, I'm having a brain fart. It was I don't know the right way to say this. For wayward, it was a school for wayward kids.
Okay. Yeah.
For boys, and I think before that it was for
Wasn't it like an institution or something?
yeah, it was like a I don't know. This is not going to sound politically correct, but it was like for
Right,
mentally
right,
challenged people.
right. And then that's usually like what those places were used for back then. Um,
Yes.
and there's a lot, yeah, they have a lot of history and like Phil said, horrible things happened there, I'm sure.
Well, Julie, that goes back to also in Staten Island, the case that you
Yeah,
investigated, Willowbrook,
yeah, Willowbrook.
with
I mean,
Hellion News, and
same thing. Yeah, that's the location, Staten Island, that what's his face went there and closed it down. What's his
Geraldo
name?
Rivera.
Yes, yes.
That was
Same
cruel.
thing.
What they were doing to those kids was absolutely cruel.
I mean,
There's no
yeah,
words for that.
they would put kids in there who, had like autism. I mean, they didn't really understand,
Yeah.
that, what it was back then. And, the parents really thought they were doing the best thing for the kids. And unfortunately, it was really bad. And like you
Yeah.
said, the imprint of that stays there forever. I mean, it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't go anywhere. It's, it's sad.
That's the place up on Staten Island, you said?
Yes, yeah. It has like, do you ever hear the Legend of Crosby? It has like some connection to that as well, with the missing
No.
children.
I think I was at that place a few years ago.
Really?
It's all fenced in now.
It's all
Uh,
fenced in. Yeah,
yeah.
we had to actually get someone to break in for us. Like you can't get in. You can't get in.
Yeah.
You have to. Yeah, there's no way to even
I
get in
have
there.
I have a buddy who lives up there in Staten Island, and he knew a way in, so we went in and investigated it, and that
It's
place.
What
hard.
did you pick up over there, Chris?
What's that?
What during the investigation on Staten Island in that building? What did you pick up?
Oh yeah. You could feel. We didn't really get too much. I'm lying because he had a thermal camera, and I don't know how or why this would have been, but it looked like in the thermal camera that there was a dog there, and it's at night, so we couldn't see. But I had my flashlight and shined my flashlight to where we thought the dog was,
Okay.
and there, because we didn't know if it was a wild dog or
Right.
and
Yeah.
nothing was there. So I don't
Wow.
know. I don't know if they had dogs up there, but
We were inside that building. I mean, that all the way in upstairs, and it was horrible. I think I know what you're talking about. There was like a long hallway, and there was a light there, and we couldn't figure out what it was. It was something. It was something unnatural, of course, but it was just sitting right there. And then, like, we actually have a video of that, a documentary actually, and a horrible, horrible place. That was probably the worst experience that I've ever had to deal with. It's horrible because, like you said, you can feel it.
yeah, that's the biggest thing I remember about that place is, and I don't I wouldn't consider myself psychic or to have any gifts like that, but sometimes I'll see things or sometimes I'll pick up on things. Um,
Yeah.
but
You're
the
like
the
you're a lighthouse. You're a lighthouse. You're like very open, and you yeah, like you can feel like the heaviness of something. You can feel
yeah,
when you're
that's
surrounded by
that is
heaviness.
what I remember. Yeah, that's exactly the biggest thing I remember from up there was how heavy I felt, like sad. I
Yeah.
don't know, sad and heavy.
Yes. Yeah. That was, yeah. It was really, 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 really bad in there. So, what is the best piece of advice that you can offer new and young paranormal investigators that may be venturing into the world of paranormal?
I
Because there's so many.
I would say don't watch the TV shows. um, Use your head, and if you feel scared, it's okay to back out for a little bit. You can go back in, but because I have seen it. I'm sure you guys have seen it, where a paranormal investigator gets uh, freaked out or scared,
Yeah.
and they don't want to for everyone to see they're scared, and they stay there, and then it just gets
Let's
crazy.
right. That really bothers me, and a lot of people, they've said that to me too. Like, don't scream. How can you be investigating it? We're human and we get scared.
Right.
Things will scare us. I mean, just because we're out there investigating locations doesn't mean that we won't get scared. I mean, sometimes we need to take a break and step outside. I mean, we tell people that for years of having investigators here, like, take a break, go outside, get air, you gotta do it. It's important.
Yeah, it keeps your mind fresher too, I think, when you can step out and collect your thoughts.
Right, exactly. It's true. And I really want to get into this. I mean, you've worked on some missing persons cases. I mean, how did you even get involved in that, and how'd you start?
Okay, I so when I got into the paranormal, it was always going to somebody's house and seeing if their house is haunted, or if it can be explained, or going to these big locations and thrill seeking. Um, and then I got a message one day from a lady that lives out near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. She had messaged me and said, "Hey," uh, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly what it said, but she said, "Hey, I'm working on a missing persons case, and I was wondering." She has psychic abilities, so, but she said, "I was wondering if you thought that if you bring down like a recorder or a spirit box, if you think that we might be able to help us find this missing the person." So I never thought about it before, but sure. And I started going down. I met the family of the missing person, and the first thing I told him was, "I cannot guarantee you anything. I don't want to get your hopes up. I've never done this before. This is new to me." So, and it's the missing person's mother who I was talking to, and she was just thankful that somebody was coming to try to help. So, um, that got me into it. I've done a few EVP sessions with the family and on my own. Got some stuff that it didn't lead me to find anybody, but when I brought the EVPs up to the family, they're like, "Oh my God, I knew this," and and I got really close with the family too. So actually just talked to the missing person's mother today. So
Was the person ever found?
no, not yet. They have a suspect. Actually, his trial. Um, she's the judge declared her dead. So
Okay. Oh,
it's
that's so
a
sad.
murder case now.
Yeah. Okay.
But the trial starts sometime this month, I
Okay.
think.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah, and then I
Okay, so
started
that
an. Oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
I was just going to say, I started another case that's closer to me. And this was the weirdest thing because I had a friend come up from Virginia who wanted to help, and we went out to the area where this girl was last seen, and we had a spirit box. And I'll say this, I there's nothing legally, no legal issues or anything with what I'm about to say, but the spirit box said pizza. And I was
Pizza.
like, what the hell? Like pizza, loud and clear. What the heck does that mean? And the next day, the girl that came up from Virginia, she sent me a picture. She took a screenshot off of Facebook. She joined uh, the uh, the group that was trying to find the missing person on Facebook. She joined this group, and they started putting flyers on top of the pizza boxes, and she was like, so it was just, I don't know.
Oh, wow.
That's something kind of stupid, but it kind of validated, what we were getting that
Right.
night.
Yeah. So you've worked on a lot of residential cases, like, or do you stick like with locations of historical?
I do
Or both?
residential cases a lot with Melissa, and
Okay. Okay. So
yeah.
what was one of like the hardest cases that you ever had to work on? A residential.
There was one case close to us that it had two little boys that lived in this location, and they both had autism, and they couldn't speak very well. I think the
Okay.
one boy was 7 and the other boy was like 3. And the 7-year-old was telling me and Melissa about this bad man. I think that's, he called him bad man, or bad soul.
Okay.
He kept calling him bad soul, and he would come through the mirrors. And this little boy was telling us this bad soul would come through the mirrors at night and have the boy put X's on the doors of his family. That way the bad soul knew which ones that he could kill.
Oh.
And we were investigating one night. I'm getting the goosebumps just talking about this part. But the 3-year-old boy, now these boys, they have autism. They don't, they watch kids shows. They haven't watched ghost shows.
Right.
But the 3-year-old is pointing into the bathroom, and he's saying ball, ball, ball. Like that's all he was saying was ball, ball, ball. And the 7-year-old starts screaming, don't say that name, don't say that name. And I had no clue what was going on. I thought there was like a basketball in the bathroom he wanted. So I turned the light on. I was like, there's no ball in here. And then Melissa and I had left that night. And when I got home, I was looking up, I typed in the Google machine, ball paranormal. And I typed in BALL ball paranormal. And what pops up on my Google machine is BAHL ball.
Oh. Okay.
And
The
I
name.
I messaged Melissa. I was like, oh my goodness, look at this. And she was like, I was waiting. I knew you would figure it out. I just wanted you to figure it out on your own. And
Oh, wow.
I was like, wow, it's crazy.
Did you ever find out like who it was and why, they were being affected?
No, we went down there and we did a house blessing and the cleansing on their house. The night we did that, actually, I got scratched right in the middle of my back.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I couldn't see what it was, but Melissa took a picture of it, and she said it looked like a symbol. There was a circle on my back with some weird thing in the middle of it. And she's like, oh my gosh, that's a symbol. And I don't remember what the symbol meant, but she probably does.
It's funny that it's not funny, but didn't that happen to someone in our house, Phil? It was a
Yeah,
symbol.
well, actually, that was the hoof print. It was a
Yes.
hoof print in the back of the
Okay.
neck by one of the film people here years ago. They were in the exact spot that years prior. It looked like a goat head coming from the basement floor, and they were filming that location, and they said, "Oh, it burns! It's burning my neck." And they didn't believe in paranormal; they were just a film person, and there was a hoof print in the back of their neck. Now, it fascinates me, and to the listener out there, this is true stuff. You know, people get scratched, and we say, well, what scratched them, right? Was it psychosomatic? Was it power of thought? Or was it something that we just can't see coming through another dimension, a veil? And the answer is yes. I have seen people right in front of me be scratched, deep scratches. You don't have to make it out. You can see what it is. They're hurting. So that also leads me to believe and teach the world that these things can affect you and they can harm you. Now, it's rare. It's not often. Most investigations, you know, you're going to capture a couple of apparitions, get some EVPs, which are electronic voice phenomenon. But then there's the darker locations where you will get scratched, you will get an imprint. And to this day, it still fascinates me how that happens. And so we've talked to spirits on the Ouija board sometimes as that was happening. And a young child would come through at that time saying, the bad man is here. The bad man is here. Now that leads me to believe somehow in another dimension, another time, the innocents are being chased by the darkness of shadows, which can cast upon our physical realm and also affect us if they have enough energy in that present moment of time. So I always tell people, be careful with the words that you choose, because you don't know, first of all, what they're capable of, meaning the entity. And second, it can attach itself to you, which means that you may not get rid of this thing for a long time. And if you have any kind of problems in life, it can latch onto that and make things a lot worse for you. We've seen that happen. Car accidents, heart attacks, lost memory. I don't have all the answers, but I know that it's true in a fashion where the words that we use of intent have to be used delicately with respect to that side.
Yeah. You know, attachments are very scary, and it could take years and years and years to get rid of one. And I don't care who's trying to get it off of you. If it doesn't always work. It could take a long, long, long time. So you got to be really careful.
Yeah.
Has anything ever followed you home, Chris? Any
I was actually,
attachments? Anything?
yep. I was actually just going to say that when I first got into the paranormal, I was still on the drugs, and I don't know. I didn't think about it at the time, but after a while, a few people had told me that it was an evil attachment. Um,
Yeah.
they said it was oppression. It wasn't, because I went through depression and oppression. I didn't never get possessed. I was never possessed, but like I wanted to kill my. Yeah, I wanted to. I wanted to kill myself, but I was too scared to. I didn't want to live. I lived in my bedroom for 6 months to a year. I didn't care. I didn't have a job. I didn't, I was married and got divorced. It was horrible.
And
So
these are the times where these things will attack you when you're at your weakest time in your life. I mean, we've seen it.
yeah, that's and on the other hand, you'll see people that think the paranormal is so cool, and an attachment is what that would be so fun, and
Yeah.
I don't even know. Like, how do you help them people?
That sounds
It's like
crazy to me.
yeah,
Yeah.
they want it to be. How do you help those people?
Well, I mean, I think people like that. I don't think they've really truly had an attachment before, and they're because if you had one, it's nothing to, you know, it's horrible. It's not a good thing. So,
Right.
right, Phil?
You're right, Julie. Attachments are bad. You don't
Yeah.
know. It ain't going to be Casper the ghost attaching themselves to you. It's going to be something malevolent, most likely. Unless
Yeah. And
it's a lost child that doesn't know they crossed. Because I've seen those cases too. And we've caught in that evidence through spirit boxes where the child does not know they died.
yeah.
And they're earthbound spirits. They don't know where to go. Until you get someone who actually knows how to cross them over. I don't know how to do that, but there are people out there who know how to cross them over and guide them to the light.
Yeah.
I have a question for Phil. I've heard, I'm sure
Oh,
a lot of people have heard that the spirits children that are kids, do you think that sometimes evil presents itself as that also?
Most definitely. Most definitely. We had a case here in our own home where for years, we've had 52 paranormal teams here throughout the years. And this girl will come through and say, my name is Sarah, young girl. And someone who was really good on the Ouija board, she told them what school she went to, where she died, how she was murdered. And we believed her story because it was true. We didn't even know the school till we looked it up on Google, and this school did exist in Staten Island, New York.
yeah.
And then she told us where she was murdered, and she would say, "The bad man's coming, the bad man's coming," and then all of a sudden, the person who's doing the Ouija board would be drained and feel discomfort, so they stopped the Ouija board session. Well, only up until a few years ago, when we had NESPR come here, who, they had the Annabelle doll and Dan Rivera, and then they identified Sarah was not Sarah. Sarah was a demon playing on our emotions, our thoughts, our consciousness, and our kindness. And when we speak her name, she would come through as an innocent child, but only to cause chaos within the family and those that would come here to investigate. So, yes, we have to be careful because you don't know who you're talking to.
And a lot of times, what would happen to us is living here for so long, you kind of get blocked from a lot of stuff. And, you go into other locations and you feel it, you could pick things up. But in our own house, when you're living with it for so long, you become blocked. And I
But you
think
become
that's
part of the energy, right? You become part of it. You don't know the difference.
exactly. And I think that's what kind of happened here too with let's say with Sarah, that we were so blocked that we couldn't really figure out what was really going on. And so so that definitely happened. It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
scary. I mean, paranormal is very, very scary. And what happens is you end up leaving anywhere with more questions than answers because
Well,
that's the way it
yeah, it's
works.
scary, but also I say that it's intriguing because it proves the existence of us. We're all
Right.
going to die. Each and every one of us will be history in the next 50 years, right? So what we do know is that there's a continuation of us in a form of energy. and that we have a consciousness on that side. Now, we know that because paranormal investigating, we're able to get intelligent answers from above and beyond. Therefore, we could teach the world that the word death does not exist in the way you think it does. It is not over forever. With the physical body decays, yes. But the most essence of a person, a human being, no. Our continuation, and my belief from doing this for so long now, is that we go on to a different vibration. And most of the time, some people may have experiences, but people say they've been to heaven. A grandparent, a parent, a loved one, a child. You can feel the difference of a loved one coming through because you feel that sensation, and you may get a smell of what they used to wear, or hear a song on the radio that would make your skin tingle and like vibrate. And I remember that person and this song at this specific time. Well, they're making you remember because they're letting you know, hey, I'm still here. It's just that you can't see me the way you think you can, but don't ever stop forgetting me. And then when we go into the negative realm, we feel drained, tired, void, and then all of a sudden we can feel hatred and pain and evil, oppressed, and then sometimes, in rare cases, possession. So you can separate the difference if you're in the field and you really know what you're doing. And most importantly, we can prove that this does go on. There's a continuation button of each and every one of us. Now, I have personally, way back in the 80s, spoken to friends that have crossed over in their teens, and I wanted proof. They gave me that proof, not only through a form of a presence, but also visiting them and their stone at a cemetery. You can feel the wind, the vibration of energy and the essence of that person. So we're never alone. And if you want to communicate with somebody, I believe that with the best of intention, you can, and your abilities. However, if you feel like something is not right and negative, I would stop what you're doing and put that to an end at that current time, because there are walk-ins. And walk-ins are something that know, hey, this person's a lighthouse. I can communicate. Now let me go haunt them and scare them or cause problems in their family.
Right.
So there's that fine line too of what we're dealing with, right? A lot of questions I always ask, and it's still a big question mark in paranormal. Do the lower vibration entities, and when we cross over, do we somehow reconnect with these entities in such a way where the child says the bad man is coming? Is he really coming? Or is it a false interpretation to get more curiosity from us, and we feed more energy into it?
That's very interesting. I think you're right. I think you're onto something now. Definitely.
Yeah. You had said something when you were talking there about I forget how you said it, but spirits talking to us or us asking questions and them coming through to us. I like to tell people that have never investigated before that I think a spirit is just a person without a body. And
that's true.
When you're asking questions, try not to be a jerk, because when you don't want to talk to a jerk, so why would us,
Yes.
I don't know if that made any sense.
It does make sense. I mean, you have to really go in there with some type of respect.
Yeah.
Because you never know. what could happen. Like, you never know what could happen. You can walk away with an attachment. I
Yep.
mean, anything could happen. So it does make sense. So Melissa Lipa just joined us. Good question, Phil. Melissa, you're late to the party, but
You
we're glad
sure
you're
are. We've been bashing you the whole show.
here. It's so funny. So first, I have a question. What TV shows have you been on? I mean, have you been on Roku and Amazon?
Yeah, the show is called, I've been on, it's called Ghost. Oh man, Ghostathon.
Okay.
I've been on that show a couple times, and that's it's on Roku, Amazon, and it's on YouTube also.
Okay.
I the first time I was on there, Melissa was with me, and we talked about my addiction and how I got into the paranormal, and then the second time I was on there, I talked about working a couple missing persons cases, and I did that one by myself, so it probably wasn't as good because I didn't have the awesome Melissa guiding me through it.
I'm
I'm
sure.
just, she is really good at helping me when I get lost, and that happens a lot when I'm nervous.
Yeah. Well, she's really good like that. And she just said right now I had to eat. I know. Were you eating meatballs? I mean, we're still waiting for
Yeah,
you to come here, Melissa. So
right.
just we're
I've
not getting any younger here. Just saying.
been trying to get her to come down there for the last couple years, and she's
She's a
a hermit.
homebody.
Yep.
She's a homebody. I mean, I get it. So I can't make fun of her for that. I really can't. Sometimes I never want to leave my house.
Yeah.
Chris, have you gotten any pictures of a ghost, like a full body apparition during your investigations?
Um, I I I always hesitate when I do have a few pictures that I don't know what they are. I would say, in my opinion, it's apparitions. I have I think three or four of them. They're on my Facebook page. If you want, it's just look for Haunted Hammy. In my photos, I got the one at the cemetery when I first started doing the paranormal. Um, and then actually, I was with Melissa one night. Me and Melissa we went to look for the white lady because ever since that first night I saw that white lady, like I just have a thing for the white lady. And
Wow.
Melissa was taking some pictures, and we got an interesting picture. And I don't want to say they're apparitions, but I believe they are. Because people will debunk it all day long. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, you
It's
got
a
to go with your
lens
gut.
flare.
Yeah, you have to go with your gut with those kind of things. I mean, you can't let,
Right, man.
people talk you down and, if you know what you saw and you know what you got and that's it. That's what I always say.
Yeah. And I just got I don't know if you saw on my TikTok the shadow person video.
I think I did see it.
It's
What
weird
happened?
because we were down at Waynesboro at the I can't remember there's a museum in there for the Battle of Waynesboro, and I forget what the name of it is, but we investigated the battlefield, and then they took us through the museum, and after the museum closed, everyone had left, and me and my buddy and one of the actors were standing outside talking, and I said, something just moved in that window, so I went up and started recording on my phone, and you can see the cars driving by with the headlights in the window, and then this one car passed, and it looked like a figure standing in the window. And I got it on my phone, so I put it on. It's on TikTok and Facebook.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, we definitely have to check that out. I think I did say that though. I
Yeah.
think Melissa said it looks like a white lady holding a lantern. I like it. So it's just moisture.
Oh, yeah, that's the white lady picture that she took.
Okay.
If you look at it, it does look like a person in a long flowing gown.
Wow. That sounds like a really good catch. That's kind of a creepy one.
But people on Facebook say it's a motion blur, it's a lens flare.
You know, sometimes
it
it's either you don't pay attention, and sometimes you just can't even post anything because you can't please everybody. They're always going to bury the spot, right, Phil?
Everybody has an opinion. You put one picture, you'll get 1,000 opinions because everyone. Well, look, I mean, you see something on social media. I never knew there was so many experts on so many different topics that live home. I mean, it makes you laugh. Right? Everybody's an expert on this and that and this and that. It's like, all right, come on. What is it, show and tell of the experts?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, it's Julie's right. If you believe it and you've taken the picture and you feel that vibration that it's true, then it's true. I never, ever go by anybody's opinion because Mother Mary can go in the sky in front of the whole world. Half the population will say, well, I don't see anything.
Yep.
It's denial. It's something that people will dismiss because of their own beliefs. So go with what you feel is true.
Exactly. Yeah. Very well said. Yep.
I always get a kick out of it because I'm like, someone will say it's photoshopped or whatever.
Yeah.
I know what happened. I was there, so you can believe what you want.
Exactly. That's the attitude to have in this field. Just let them believe what they want. But Melissa, thank you for joining us. We're definitely coming to the end of the show. Chris, thank you for coming on tonight. We really appreciate it. It's been a great show, and it went by fast, as it always does. Melissa, I'm cashing in on those now. I think she's talking about food. Oh. Okay. So, again, Chris, thanks for coming on tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you. Special thank you to Carnation for fully sponsoring the show from day one. We love them. Please join us next week on the United Public Radio Network on 105.3 FM and 107.7 FM from New Orleans. And also, don't forget, we're live on Roku. And that's it, guys. Thank you.
Everyone have a safe, great night, and hopefully we will survive the night in Eastern Pennsylvania because we are now again in a tornado warning. And today has been all acts of God, and the weather is unbearable. So until next week, if we are still around or floating away, we will see you around. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Chris. Have a good night.
Thank you. You guys too.
Thank you.